It is December 29, 2015, and I'm in Budapest, Hungary. This year has been I guess it's the foretaste of things to come, because over 1 million migrants, people from Africa and the Middle East, are crossing the seas and the oceans, and getting in rubber rafts, and just coming over into Europe in ever increasing numbers. This has particularly affected certain countries such as Sweden and Germany, which traditionally have considered themselves open towards refugees. It's part of the German constitution, and this, that, and the other. The flows into Germany are down from 10,000 a day to about 5,000 a day, but that's just because of the weather. It's easier for these people to just come and do the Balkan Trail in the summer, rather than when it is as cold as it is right now. But things are going to pick up again in the spring and in the summer, and we're going to see increasingly dramatic flows. What's happening is that, quite simply, the Middle East and Africa are emptying themselves out into Europe. Now, that's just the reality. You're going to face that reality. And there is no way of stopping this other than a massive pushback. But the problem is that European societies and European political leaderships, because of ideological problems, are incapable of delivering this firm pushback. And we're essentially surrendering our future to Africa and the Middle East, to failed societies, to people who have a lot of problems, who carry within themselves a lot of problems. And that's a future that is really frightening. The ideological problem that prevents European societies from reacting the way they should, in a protective manner, protecting their own interests, protecting their justice towards themselves and towards future generations of Europeans who have, because there's no moral reason for us to surrender this continent to people who are essentially strangers, who cannot be assimilated, who are very different, come from very different cultures. And if you think that there's no difference between an average Swede and an average person from the Sudan, and that they will, in large enough numbers, they will eventually end up at the same place, same civilization, same society. You believe you are the type of person who is so stupid and so deluded that you probably even believe in little green men in the forest. I mean, you will believe anything. So let's not lose touch with reality. But the problem is that ideologically, that reality cannot be acknowledged, because that would be a problem for the underpinning of liberalism, which is the notion that between ethnic groups there's no difference whatsoever. I mean, that is the sacred cow of liberalism. And if that sacred cow gets in any way, shape, or form threatened, liberals will go up in arms. I mean, they will call the police. That's really what happens in a lot of countries. I mean, they will call the police if you say something that threatens that, or if you express a thought that threatens that lie, that preposterous belief, that then they will try to shut you down. And here's the issue. We all know where this is going, because the demographic trends, I mean, there's no doubt about the demographic trends. These people in Africa and the Middle East are having lots and lots of children. And you may think that these are people who are backward, or who economically do not produce a lot, and therefore you may think that these people are weak and deserving and compassion and blah blah blah. But they're not weak, because they are expanding and expanding and expanding, and they're taking over everything. I mean, and I wish that was an exaggeration, but it is not. And how do you deal with that? How do you deal with that other than through a massive society-wide rejection of the people who are coming over? We need to turn back these rubber boats. We need to turn back the people who are coming over. We need to tow them back to where they're coming from. If they try to cross our fences, we apply force, deadly force if necessary, because that's what it will take. Not some bad, crazy, sad pack of bones Angela Merkel type with her grand schemes and her grand ideas, and or even more forthright, intelligent, and perspicacious politicians, such as the Danish Prime Minister said that the Geneva Convention needs to be renegotiated to deal with the migrant crisis, because it doesn't make any sense that if you have somebody from some country living in Turkey for 3 years, and then he decides to immigrate to Europe, that that he's still a refugee, and then he crosses 7 countries to get to that European country that just happens to have the most generous welfare benefits. I mean, there's no reason for the protections of under the Geneva Convention to apply. I mean, it's a reasonable point, but it's a non-starter, because any document, any law, anything, the end result of which is that Europe faces a massive invasion from African or people from the Middle East, needs to be crumpled up and thrown into the garbage. No renegotiations involving 50 countries that are never going to agree to anything, but rather a use of a forceful assertion of the interests of not only present-day Europeans but future Europeans. And that's what it will take. So if it takes a strong man type to impose that assertion of self-interest and to pursue the interests of the native Europeans and their descendants, then that's what it should be, because the people who are pushing this invasion, I mean, and there are people who are pushing it, such as George Soros, who's funding all these pro-migrant groups, and Peter Sutherland and other individuals. I mean, this is just a well-known fact. But these people just need to be cast aside, because the stakes are humongous. I mean, if you think that an African or that Africa can carry out European civilization, you're deluded. You're crazy. And this invasion, there's nothing democratic about it. I mean, the people of Europe are not being consulted about this. This is just a result that is being imposed on them. And it seems that the political leadership right now, it either does not know what to do, or it tries to put a happy face on a situation that really, really sucks. So So we need a radical ideological rethinking, and we need to get our priorities straight, and we need a forceful response. We need to just gather up all the politically correct taboos, all the sacred cows of the left, and throw them into the dustbins of history, which is where they belong. And get rid of politicians like Angela Merkel while we're at it. All right, take care, guys.